Alright guys, we are here for a Ark Survival Evolved video. Now, this is going to be a two video. I'm going to do one that is going to be super freaking long, and that is going to be this one right here. Now, this is going to list pretty much every base location that I thought was worth mentioning in Ark Survival Evolved for Ragnarok map at least. So, let's go ahead and get into the video, and don't forget, if you like this video, do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and let's get into it. Latitude and 23, almost 24 longitude. Now, the thing about this one, it is absolutely huge. This, if I remember right, is called Pirates Cove. So this is a huge cove. There's a massive entrance off at the top. Now, there is like metal down here. If you go down underneath this, there's actually crystal. You also have a water entrance right here that leads into like a little river system. And you can actually fit like decent sized water dinos through this and literally just have an entire water section in this cove. This little island thing here is actually really cool. This area is actually really flat, which makes things really nice. I've built here a lot of times, but I just never end up staying here for very long just because I restart too often. However, this base right here is one of my absolute favorites, and it's a pretty easy spot to be near. Like, there's no, like, it's pretty easy beginner location. You're also really close to one of the obelisks, which is really helpful for these boss fights. So this one is going to be at 25 and 16 longitude. You just got this like giant like island that you could probably make like a really cool fortress out of essentially. You can also definitely fit some cliff platforms up on that. But yeah, this area looks really cool. You're also again right next to the obelisk, and yes, you're like, you have to come over here for any resources, but you're not that far away. Alright, so with this, anything over in this northwest area, once you have flyers, you're also really close to a lot of the metal, obsidian, and crystal spawns that are over in this area. So it's not far away from resources at all. So this is another one I really like, and then obviously you can just section off like a little water base. Water like portions. This is actually one, if you love water dinos, you are good to go there. However, this location is at 21 at 26. So there's just this giant flat area all up on the top here. You can actually put cliff platforms up at the top of that as well, or if you leave it alone, you have metal as well as obsidian up on the top there. But it is literally just this giant flat area, and there's a little cave. Oh, cave's right over here that goes into this like weird thing with this like dead guy. Like, this is a creepy spot, but it actually is pretty cool. Now, up here, you can just build whatever you want there. There's also a little like platform thing over here, and if you really want to, you could rebuild the bridge. However, again, this area is really resource heavy, so I love this location right here for just a giant base. Now, there is no spot for water dinos unless you want to build over in this area as well. It's really close to this tree, which you can put a one of the tree platforms on and get sap out of this. So that is an easy location to actually get sap out of it, which if you want a spot for water dinos, you can just build right over in this area. So another one here is going to be at 24, 27. Now you can see right over in this area, you got the little, what? Area over there. I forgot what it's actually called. Okay, but so you have a lot of flat area right here. It goes down. You also have a spot that you can actually fit some water dinos in at the bottom right here. Doesn't go much farther back. And you've got a nice little area that goes back for water. Now another cool part right here is there's a little like spot up here. Now not as practical for PvE purposes, but you do still have a little cool area over there, and that goes back over in this. So this is another cool one. You can just block off both the entrances and you have a little cove, which actually looks really nice, but it is on the smaller side. So if you're just looking for a small base, this one actually would be really, really good. And let's go ahead and see what else we can find. So this is going to be at 2231. And a lot of people probably know this one. This is one of the really, really common ones. This is a starting area. However, you just go into this little waterfall. And you have a completely closed off giant cave. And you can also build, because there's little spots up there. You can build cliff platforms. You can build up on this spot for water dinos. You got these cool little skeletons everywhere. And there is a little area you can like walk up from the water. But I know a lot of people use this one for PvP. And you can also just use this for giant cave if you want to do some PvE stuff and just have fun with a giant cave network. There's no like resources in this one that I remember of, so you're not blocking any spawns. Now it is a little bit of a pain in the ass because you have to act like any dinos have to swim into the area to get up into here, so that part is really annoying. So take that into consideration when choosing this one. However, this is a really cool one, and I just love the fact that there's the skeletons everywhere. So next one I'm going to say is literally going to be like 2 different locations in the same area. So there is this little cliff, or like, I want to say peninsula. This is, whatever this is right here. And personally, I think building on something like this would actually be really cool, because you can do a huge structure in PvE because you don't have to worry about it getting destroyed. So building something on that, or the second area is this little spot right here, and these are at like 1833. Really easy spot to find. So you can put cliff platforms there, and you can probably actually build something. It might take a pillar down the center, I'm not sure on the distance, but building something across the 2 of these and actually finishing a bridge and building up on this area, it's a really cool spot that I've always wanted to build on, but I just never actually got around to. And you are right next to the water, so you can build a water little area for all of the dino tames and do some water breeding. So another spot that I'm looking at that I think would be an awesome spot to build a like solely not as practical cool little spot is at 2728, but you have this giant like castle underneath the water, and building something up on this and just like actually putting the walls down, finish it, like repair the structure, I think it would be actually really, really cool to do that. And then you literally have an entire water dino like storage inside of your castle, and then build up on this. But you also then have like these little waterfalls in the background. Like, I think this is a beautiful spot. It'd be a hard spot to build because if you want to build any space, you're gonna have to like build up. Like, this literally would just be a giant tower if you need storage. But if you just want something small, I feel like that'd be a really cool spot actually. If you go right here, so this one is gonna be at 4331. So there's a little flat area on the outside of it that I like. You can also fit, I don't think you can fit big water dinos here, but you can fit some water dinos in this spot right here if you do want to do some breeding. It's not enough to do much though. However, go through this, and there is just a huge cave here. And you can put cliff platforms in this. There's another like flat area over up here. And this one's just like a huge spot. There's so much storage. Just block off this entrance. And there's another one over there that I'll show in a second. So this one's just a huge space. You can just build so much in this. I personally love caves. But another cool thing about this one, so you come over, you got the little like river coming down or whatever it is. And you just have a giant water spot right here. So if you really want to spend the time and block this off, you can just have a massive water space right here, and there's just an entrance right here. It's also a really good spot. There's another griffin spawn right over in this area, so you're really close to griffin spawns if you want those. The obelisk is not that far away. Decent distance if you have to walk there though. But you are close to a lot of resources. Now there's a lot of RG spawns that'll come over here, so you'll have to make sure that if you do the water spot, they're not gonna get killed off just by a bunch of RGs. But I do love this spot right here. It's one of my favorite, and it's one of the spots that I'm considering building when I'm going through this. All right, and again, 4634 is the second entrance right there. So next one is gonna be at 39 at 4037. Just because I want that even. All right, now this is a really cool spot. Now it is very high up. So this is going to be at the entrance, like pretty much the point where the little canyon here turns into like the freaking Grand Canyon and this giant space. Now this area is gonna have probably honestly like the best view you could possibly have, like right here at this spot. Like I really don't know if you could get like better than that. Oh look, little dino's just plummeting. You can get much better than this for that. There's also crystal spawns in the one with the river right there, or crystal nodes, so it's a really nice spot there. But you can build on this bridge and just sort of make a castle, bridge, whatever you want. Like it actually is a really nice spot. Like just build a little like spot, fly your dinos in right here, and then just build a like fortress essentially around it. You're also right next to some space over here now this is still, you can sort of see based off the spawns, this isn't actually in the like cold yet. It starts transitioning over in this area. Yeah, it literally goes straight from like you're good to dying. But over in this area there's like little oil nodes over in here, so you can get oil pretty easily. There's also this, yeah, we're not going over here. But you also have space over on like both sides if you do need to expand. Probably not the best idea to go over expanding into the snow biome where it's gonna be freezing. However, there are a lot of space over here that you can sort of expand a little bit into. However, it is a decent sized like bridge that you can build on with an absolutely beautiful view on both sides of it. Okay, so another little small one that is over in this area. So this one's gonna be at 4142 in this like giant Grand Canyon area, and there's a nice water space here, but it has a little bridge-ish that goes around like the outside of it. So this is definitely a like smaller base location, but if you like caves like I do, you can just sort of block it off, and now you have a giant, reasonable giant area for this like one person tribe or small tribe, anything like that. So there's a lot of area that you can block off. Now again, it is small as caves go, so you do have to take that in consideration as the expansion room, but you can expand outwards, Or if you really want to, you can start building on like some of these like little platforms over here. I know one of these you can like actually walk on. Is this one? Yeah, so you can actually walk on this. Probably not the most recommended way to cross that, but you can walk on that if you really want to. You walk on the other ones too. So yeah, you could, I mean, if you really want to scare yourself every day, you can also walk on this. And like, you can make something over in this area. And it's also a good spot if you want Spinos or the Baryonyxes, because they spawn all down the center. There's also a crap ton of metal spawns over here. There's crystal right there. You're not far away from obsidian. So this is another decent spot if you just want something small and don't mind build, like when you need space to build out, you have space, but it is a little bit harder to work with for that. Another spot that I actually really like is going to be over here at 3744. So you can build over in this right here, and you can actually connect these if you really want to. It's not easy, but I have seen people do it before. But personally, what I did was build on this right here, and then you just have this giant area. And if you really want to, you can also build up onto this. So like, you have this, it curls down. Like, it's just something you could do if you have multiple people that just want different houses or areas. You can do a lot with this area. It's sort of an awkward space to work with, but there is a lot of space, and there's a little spot right here that was good for a greenhouse or something like that. And again, you're really close to resources, so that part is always nice. Another spot that I like, mostly because I saw one castle here at one point, and it was just freaking awesome. Yeah, somebody built here. But there's this little like space in between this right here, and these two rivers on like both sides that just go around it. But again, anything in this area has an absolutely beautiful view of it. You have all of the terrifying creatures at the bottom. But yeah, so this spot right here, you can build on this, and then you definitely have spots for greenhouses, water. You don't have to worry about any of that. And again, this area, entire area, is just littered with resources. It's probably one of the easiest spots you could possibly go to get any resources. But it also goes up into this giant river, which is on the colder side though. Or not river, the giant lake up here. Or medium. There's a lake up here. And you can get some stuff up here. This area does get colder, so I normally don't recommend that. However, down in this area, it looks so beautiful. And the view's just amazing. Alright. And that was at 3848. So next one I'm going to mention is going to be at Triple Waterfall, which is at 2849. And this spot's really cool. You're literally like right next to the beaver dam spawns. So cementing paste is super easy to get. However, there's an entrance there, and then right at this third like pillar-ish thing on the right, you go into it and you just have a nice little entrance here into a pretty, like a big cave. There's a nice flat space up here. There's like metal spawns there. You even got like crystal. There's also like a couple obsidians, like nodes in here. So if you don't block the spawns, you literally can just get crystal, metal, and obsidian inside of your own like base. And as you expand, you just obviously start missing out on that, but it's a nice little spot. You can fit water dinos in this area if you want to do some breeding. But this one's another nice, like, decent sized cave that's a little bit off into the area. Again, you're right next to the beaver dams, which is absolutely amazing. You literally have all, like, 3 of them, obsidian, crystal, and metal inside of your base, in small nodes that you can get. It's also a really good spot to find different saber tooths. There's RGs in the area. So if you want to try and, like, track down high-level RGs and saber tooths for stuff, they're in the area. There's also, like, Rex spawns that spawn over in the edge over there. So it's an easy spot to get materials within reason. And it's a beautiful location. You can even build outside of this. Because if you want the greenhouse, you don't get the greenhouse effect if it's inside the cave. So if you do want your greenhouse, that has to go on the outside. So that is one thing to take into consideration in, like, your design of your base, is where you're going to actually put the greenhouse. But this is another one that's an absolutely beautiful location, and you can do some crazy stuff with this one. And it's just, I love this one too. So another spot. So if you look at 240, you'll see it if you're in the area. But there is this giant castle. Now, this is not an easy one to take control of, because as you can see, there are a lot of creatures in this area. There's a crap ton of bats. However, it is an absolutely beautiful castle. Now that we have gotten rid of the dinos in the area, yeah, so there is a bridge that goes right here, goes across. You got these little pillars in the front of it. We're gonna run. And there's the courtyard. It goes up. And the castle is huge. Like, you actually can go inside. You don't need to build. Now, this actually goes down into an entire, like, network. Now, you have to go pretty far down for this part. But, like, there's more stuff down here. So, like, this castle goes really, really far down. Fortunately, I don't think you can use those. But it goes into an entire cave network. Shit. Yeah, so this goes down and you can't see anything. So, not really going to play around with that. But okay, reorient myself. So yeah. But so you have like an entire water network that goes down there into some giant cave networks. So you have the space down here if you want to do something with it. Magic of editing. Cut out going back up the thing. Okay, we're back. So yeah, you got this area. Also goes up. And, like, you have these giant rooms in this area. And there's so much you can do with this. Like, the view's amazing. The room setups. Like, you have so much space in this castle to work with. And you can still keep going up. So, like, this castle is a massive, massive area. We're just gonna skip the stairs. Keeps going up, up, up. All the way to the top. So, like, yeah, you have a giant castle to work with. There's also a water vein right there. So you can use that for a greenhouse. You don't have to use like the pipes to get up there. So like this is a really cool spot to build. The only downside is if you want space for water dinos, there's the space in the bottom, but you literally have to run all the way down there. So it's not really useful for storage. So if you want any water dinos, you're gonna have to build something down there. But again, it's not close or not that far. And this is just a huge castle to work with. So I love this spot. And that one is at 2140 again. Like this is a more, if you like the aesthetic of stuff, like this little spot's actually pretty cool. Like there's this river that follows up, and you can build things like in here. Like if you really wanted to do a full-blown like village, you could sort of build it along this river. There's the waterfall right here. That's actually, I love waterfalls. So there's the waterfall here, but the cool part about this spot is on the right side here, this little river comes to this waterfall, and the waterfall, like, there's a cave. There's another cave. Cool little spot. You can build like a water area right here for your the water dinos. You have a decent sized like small cave. Like it's flat. Like it's a nice flat space. You can block off the entrance right here. Now this again is a really, really small space to work with. So if you want to spend a bunch of resources, or don't want to spend a bunch of resources, this is definitely a good spot for you. It also goes like down into this. You have a lot here you can do with, and you could possibly just build like a section out here for your bigger tames, and then just have your little like cave area for a lot of the smaller ones. It also keeps going up, and there's like a lot of resources over in this area right here. So there's a little entranceway right here, and it goes into a huge water cave. So this is one you would need complete cliff platforms to do anything. But I don't know if you want to like role play as a pirate or something like that. Like you literally have this little cove, and it's actually really like it's a big like water spot. And if I remember, you can actually build like spots in that. And like you could even build like multiple cliff platforms on this going up. Like there's so many spots you could build cliff platforms to make this a cool spot. So that's a nice little spot, especially if you like water dinos or like water spot. There's also space out here if you want to do something for your actual like normal tames instead of the water ones. But the view outside looks really cool. This is going to be out way on the northeast side, so you are a decent distance away from any resources, which is a negative in my opinion. You are close to the redwood biome, so you can get sap that way, but you are pretty far away from any actual like metal, even trees. So this is one spot I've always wanted to build and just never gotten around to doing it. So this spot is at 4185, which is on like the far east side of the redwood biome. However, there is this like lone redwood tree here that you can build a tree platform on, and you just have this giant, decently flat space area to work with. And you can pretty much just block off that, maybe put like some spike balls up there to make sure nothing falls down. But you just have this like giant area to work with. You can put in like a nice water area right here. Like, I just feel like this would be a really cool spot to just build an awesome like tree like forest spot, just because you pretty much only have one of the redwood trees here, and then a decently flat area, or at least an area with some flat spaces to work with. And it's right next to the water. You're right next to one of the obelisks. The only downside, you're in the redwood biome, therefore good luck. Way too many things that knock you off mounts and just want to eat you alive. But Cool spot in my opinion. I've always wanted to build in the redwood biome. I just never actually got around to it. So this is going to be in the middle of the desert. You got like the canyon desert area over that side. And then you just have the super flat, like freaking Tatooine looking desert on that side. But this is gonna be at 70 latitude, 68 longitude. So there's like an entire castle, whatever this is supposed to be. But you have a giant flat area on the outside here. You got little like alcoves right here on both sides. This one you can actually walk through. That one you pretty much have to fly to or make stairs, something. Hi, raptors. But it also goes up. You got like decent sized rooms on both sides that are over here. It keeps going, and there are a couple more rooms that are like broken essentially. Oh, that was terrifying. I go into that. Now on this side there's just this opening, and it leads back into this. So you don't have like a huge amount of space. It's not like the other castle where there's a crap ton. However, it is a decent spot, especially if you like the desert. There's also these little like cove things up here. I want to know what they're actually called, but I don't know. So yeah, there's resources over here. Like you can get the metal spawns there. It's safer because there's this little like spot here that you can sort of get most of your resources. It's a little hard because if you go on the backside, I don't see anything terrifying back here, but there are scorpions and there we go, Arthropleura. Yeah, scorpion right over there, Arthropleura here. I've not seen any of the mantises spawn this far over. However, the Arthropleura and the scorpions are still nothing to like play around with. If anything, you just don't want your armor busted. But it is a good spot for anybody who likes the desert, because it gives you like access to water. Like you can actually just make like bump this out a little bit, something like that, make a cool little water spot. So water is not gonna be hard to get over here, and then you can just still have water tames, dump or anything like that. You're also really close to that like desert area over here. So if you want to go ahead and try and get all of the desert loot crates from Ragnarok, it's an easy way to get those because you can just hop on a mount and fly over to those. If you just set pillars to where they spawn or anything like that, so you know exactly where all of the loot crates are at. Like this is actually another really good spot. The only downside to a lot of the desert areas is going to actually be if you look at the beacon loot crates. So there's the desert loot crates that spawn over in this area. However, the desert is the only one that does not get any of the red normal loot crates. So now, like if you look, they have the desert ones. So you can get the desert ones, which obviously are going to be better than the normal ones. However, if you just want normal loot crates, like you're not going to get any of the red ones. Like everywhere else on the map, except for the desert, has those red loot crates. So you're sort of SOL on those if you want any of those. You are also like gonna have to go and actually move spots or fly for any there's metal in the area, but crystal you have to go over into the desert for, or go into the caves that are over by the wyverns. So resources are harder to come by at this spot, but it is a cool location for PvE, especially if you like the whole like desert look. The desert castle look specifically. So this is going to be a completely like, I want to say role-playing, but 8358 longitude. So you got this, and you can build a cliff platform on that right here. It goes up into like a flat area, so you could, like, in theory, build something up onto the top area here as well. However, this builds into, it's literally just a giant cove. Giant water space, so it'd be hard to sort of block it off. It would be sort of hard to block it off, but if you took the time to actually block this off, you could literally just make an elevator onto a cliff platform right there, and then just have a like giant open space up top here. So this would be a really cool spot, in my opinion, to build. It would just be really time consuming to build everything here, but you do have a giant flat space up top here. You have access to easy Daedon tames, direwolves for the caves if you want those. A little bit harder to get some resources. There's not a lot of trees. You just have the cactuses, which gets you easy cactus sap. So you have to go a little bit of ways up into this area to get some of the other like simple resources, as well as like it's not that close to any of them. There's also like Titan boa spawns and stuff like that over here. It's a little bit more of a nervous area, but still a cool spot if you want something on the more cosmetic side. Alright, so another spot on the more cosmetic side wouldn't be something for a particularly large tribe. However, at 8255, I'm just gonna leave that up. There's a little flat space right here, right next to this waterfall, and you could easily build a like water space, like that water dino storage space out here. Hi. So obviously Daedon spawns, but you could easily build something like right up against this waterfall and just have the waterfall in like your backyard. You can also build a cliff platform on the top of that if you want to do something for there. And it does lead into another like decent sized flat space like up above it. So I just thought that spot was actually really cool. I personally am a huge fan of waterfalls. Waterfalls are just beautiful in my opinion, but I figured this would be a really cool spot for like a small little base if you just want to build something on the more cosmetic side. There's also these like flat platforms over here if you wanted to build something out pretty much like directly over the water, because these platforms all go out and over. So it'd be easy to build something up. The pipe network wouldn't be too hard, even though you're in the desert for some water. And like all this spot up here, like you can, even over here, you can put like a cliff platform right here. It's not far away from water. You're not too far away from some of the resources. You're not too far away from the metal. The crystal isn't gonna be easy to get, but obsidian wouldn't be too bad with that cave over there. And this just circles like all the way around. Like any of these little like flat platforms can actually be a decent spot to build on. So this little waterfall that goes up into that is gonna be at 6444. And again, you have the Wyvern Cave right over in that direction right there. But right here, now there is not room for big dinos here, just to clarify that, like right now. So you have this center area if you want to try and fit stuff, but there are like 4 rooms with these like awesome statues on like each side. So there's one there, got another one here, and then same thing on the opposite side. And like it goes over here just towards this little like waterfall. So like you can build stuff here, it's not the most practical thing because there's not a whole lot of space and you sort of hard to build something. Like, you pretty much have to fly out. Like, there is not an actual like entrance into this spot. So like, unless you build something out in the separate area, there really isn't a whole lot for storage. But it is a really cool completely cosmetic one that you could build some stuff and see that. There's also metal and obsidian literally right outside your base. So another spot, I've seen a few people build here. I want to say I've built here before, but honestly I don't remember. So there's this spot right here at 8340. It's not particularly flat, but you do have a little water spot right here, so you can fit water dinos in there. Nothing super big, but I have seen them in there. It's not gonna give you the most, but you can fit some water dinos in here with this like space over here. The other part that's sort of cool about this is if you go over here, you have this like entire island that you can build up on. No. So you have like this entire island to build stuff on. And you have megalanias and stuff like that over here. So if you want those, it's an easy spot for those. There's also a little spot back in here for like crystal. You got some metal spawns. So it's an easy spot to like just literally go underneath. Like, as long as you don't block the spawns, you can literally just build over them. There's also an oil vein right there. So it's easy oil, easy metal, crystal. And then you can just build a bridge that finishes crossing them. And you literally can just go right over here. You can even have a base up at the top here, or have like a main space over in this area. And then just have a space over here to get resources at. Or you can just take this over, build a giant base over here. But this is always a spot that I was particularly fond of. And that is at, right now I'm at 8538. This area, no rich metal over in this area at all. You do have oil veins. So literally, the problem with this bottom left area, there's obsidian here, but there are none. Like, there is not a whole lot of resources over here. So you can get metal. Like, there's metal over here. However, it's not rich metal. Now, you can still, like, it's definitely enough to, like, get some, but resources are a little hard to come by over in this area. Now, on the bright side, though, you are out of the way. If you like deserts, this is a really cool space. Like, this entire, like, Australia island style thing. It's not as nerve-wracking as some of the other one. There's no Titan bows over here. You do have still the saber-toothed terror and stuff like that. But it's not... Oh, wait, apparently there are. I was wrong about that. Okay. Apparently you do in spaces. But you do have resources over here. Now, for the actual base locations over in this area that I personally like, so you got this like giant space up here. Is you have like up on top there, you have these like platforms that go down. There's resources down in here that you can get. So if you want to build up, there's space over there. Now, if you want just straight up islands, there's these islands over here that would actually be really cool in my opinion, because there's nothing that really spawns over here that's dangerous. So you literally could just build islands. You can keep one of these or something like that for like trees and berries and fiber and stuff like that if you need resources. But you could still build like a little castle or something like that on that space. Now, another spot that I really like is up here. There's this little cove. And this right here. You can sort of see the section I'm talking about. But if you can block this off, you have this platform here, and it goes into this. This gives you sort of like an entire bay that you can section off and build stuff at. One of the better areas I like, so another area that I've done a couple times actually, just never finished anything, is over here. This little platform right here, and it goes into this system, and you have this over here. So you got these two, and like when I've done them, I've just done them as separate entities, but it's at 72 latitude, 26 longitude. But building like essentially a tower or whatever you feel like right over on this flat area right here, because this area is actually pretty flat right here, and then it goes up, and you can build whatever you want alongside this like bridge. You're not super far away from resources. The beaver dams are right over there. You do have a little bit of an issue because you do have to go get metal. Like, there's not really metal spawns in the area, so you do have to go get metal, crystal, and obsidian. But you are at least close to natural resources, and then going to get beaver dams is close. But it's a cool little spot that gives you access to some water for your water tames, and just sort of looks cool in my opinion. But I like that spot. These islands over here. Now, this is a spot that if you want tames, you're going to have to cryo them and bring them over here, because there is no access. This is the island. But you can build over something here. There's also a little like bridge thing right here. Pier. That's what I'm thinking of. There's a little pier thing right here that's actually pretty cool. Okay, so it doesn't like go into like a cave or anything like that. So, right? Yeah. But you got like a little pier system right here. You could easily build something that's actually pretty cool over on this island right here. You got metal spawns right there. Now again, if you want crystal or obsidian, you're gonna have to go and get those. But again, not too far away from the beaver dams. You have metal. Doesn't really anything carnivore-wise is spawning, and you just have this little pier system. And pier system, pillars, cool little like hut away from everything. Again, you're gonna have to cryo everything you want to do, but it's a cool little island to build on if you just want to be off the beaten tracks and like away from people, I guess. But you can build right here, and this one's going to be at 6716, and it's just a cool little spot. Now, over on this one, again, not too much that's like gonna hurt you. I don't actually see anything. I know that like over this area, but the cool thing about this one, if you look down, there's literally just this huge like cave or like underwater entrance. Oops. There we go. But yeah, so you just have this like giant underwater like hole. So if you really like water tames, you can get obsidian right here, which actually will help that over there. But you can get obsidian. There's metal over here. So the only thing you'd have to leave to go find would be any crystal or oil for that matter, it looks like. Or no, you get oil from the nodes in the bottom if you want them. But you got obsidian, you got metal, and you have a giant water network. So for anybody who really likes water, any water dinos, stuff like that. So this is going to be a very niche set for a very specific group of people. So over here in the marsh, the terrifying marsh at 3819, You got all of these things that are terrifying that just want to eat you. Like, look at this. Look at this. Look at that Sarco. But, terrifying space. Titan boas, everything. You get the idea. You guys know what the swamp is. But, you can build... You can put a cliff platform right here. So there is a spot in the marsh. Keeps you up off of stuff. So if you really want nobody to ever come and visit you, just build right here. So over here at 4016, again, this is back in the swamp area. So again, just in case you want nobody to ever visit you, but there's this like ruins of this castle that actually looks really cool. And like, if you go here, can you go to, no. You also have this like spot that would be really easy to actually just block off. And any water dinos, like you literally just have an entire section here for them. Now, there's not like an easy spot for like big storage, but you do have this like entire network that's actually really cool for the ruins. And I know people have found ideas to build over in this area. Just personally, there's flat space right here. So I guess there's space over here if you want to build that far out into it. But sort of cool spot in my opinion. Alright guys, so that is going to be all of the different base locations that I thought were worth mentioning for Ark Survival Evolved. I know there was a whole lot of them for that one, but go ahead and tell me in the comments what your guys' favorite base locations were for this. I am going to condense these down into probably like a top 10 or like top 20 base locations for Ragnarok. Ragnarok is a huge map, so we'll see what happens. But until next time, the zoo's closing down for the night. So this is Belinda. She was the first kitty that me and my wife actually adopted. And she is the angel of our household.